This is the VK Coolant System for Haas TL Toolroom lathes. In this video, I'm going to go over, demonstrate some of the operation of the valve and some of the unique features for this coolant system for a TL lathe with 4-position turret. This coolant system works really well with gang tooling. You're able to direct the coolant to the active tool. On the gang tooling, you're getting flow to all of the ports, whatever you have, unless you have little valves installed on there. So when the turret rotates, you'll get coolant out of the active tool. But with a gang tool, you're dividing all that flow from the outlet to the various tools. But the really nice feature of this valve is that you're able to adapt it to like a multi-tool. So this has through spindle coolant, so you're getting really good chip evacuation from that tool instead of just spraying it on the surface in all different directions where you don't want the coolant. Here's the VK Coolant System in operation. So do some tool changes here. Here's the through spindle coolant, making a mess, but what's nice about it is then you can turn on and you still get lots of flow. This is a very high flow valve, so you can have a gang tool set up with lots of coolant going and get good chip evacuation. But you can see that really performs well, very high flow. And this particular pump right now on this lathe is the 8th horsepower, so it's the small pump, and still get plenty of adequate coolant flow. Going over some of the features of the VK Coolant System are the easy access to the fasteners for gang tooling or for any of the other cutting tools. So with the lock lines, they're easily moved, manipulated. You can get to the fasteners for replacing your tools and increase the automation of the TL lathe. One of the other nice features of this design was placement of the torque tube and bracketry, not only to pick up existing fasteners in the lathe itself, but also to avoid clashing with the tailstock. I'll jog here in the X direction at full travel. So now the travel's maxed out in the X, and if we jog back in the Z, you'll see that it's not possible to crash VK Coolant System into the tailstock. The tailstock just will run into the servo box on the lathe, but that's nothing that can be mitigated from the design of the coolant system. But again, you know, you can jog back and forth, go out to max travel, and it will not run into the tailstock. So you get more Z travel with the VK Coolant System than others on the market. I'd like to point out some of the other features on this valve are the ports. So all of the ports on the valve body itself use a 1/4 inch 27 NPT thread, female thread. So you can use lock line or any other combination of coolant delivery products. I chose the lock line because it's cost effective and it works really well. You can change tools and the lock lines just do the friction, stay in place. Sometimes there'll be an issue with the cutoff tools and you get some swarf, it'll wrap around there or might manipulate the line. But there's other products on the market that have a little bit more rigidity. There are many other Haas lathes that are older that this system will adapt to. The primary dimensions of interest are, and whether your crosslight has the provisions, are these two fasteners here and this fastener here. So if your fasteners in a crossslide are 3.5 inches between these two and 1 1/4 inches, this kit will work. Older lathes, some of them have that and some of them don't. This particular lathe, the newer ones from 2015 on, the turret is attached with a cap screw and does not have a black cover, and I'll put an image in the video to kind of show you the difference between the two. But this mounts on here like this, and then we'll have the vertical rod come up. Then we've got the torque rod that gets installed. We've got the valve body, the adapter plate. One item to be aware of with the VK coolant system is there is a limitation for tool length to clear the vertical rod and the coolant tube assembly. So from the edge of the tool turret to the rod and the coolant hose assembly, or coolant tube assembly, it's 7 3/8 of an inch. So as you can see here in the gang tool, there's a 7/16 inch drill bit, and it does clear the turret with ease. Some 1/2 inch drills will clear, but it's just a case-by-case basis on your drill length. But that's something to be aware of. There's limitations with the coolant system with respect to using long length boring bars or drills in your gang tooling. That's a lot of the machining. People use the screw machine lengths, and that's typically not a problem. The screw machine length 1/2 inch drill bit fits through the turret, this gap, quite well, and with no issue.